voice is loud enough. Ladies and gentlemen, if everybody can please stand. Color guard, post the colors.
On guard, forward, off, by the half step. Left, 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 left.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Under God, honorees, present, home.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We now have the national anthem sung by Javier Cruz.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
On guard and honorees, order, home.
I'd like now to have a moment of silence for all our departed brothers and sisters from across New Jersey and the states and Canada. Please also keep in your thoughts and prayers the FDNY firefighter who was killed in action overseas this past couple of days. Keep him and his family in your prayers. Thank you. Honor guard, retire the colors.
Honor guard, right, face. Honor guard, by the half step. Forward, left, 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 right, left.
Green Corps hat.
Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left.
Thank you.
Honor guard, dismissed.
I would like to ask everybody if they could please check their phones to make sure they are either on silent or off so that it does not interfere with the program. Also, I would like to point out the exits. You have one to the right of the dais and one to the left, just in case. Us firefighters like to make sure we know where the exits are. I would also like at this time to bring up, in your program, it said that Father Pratcher was going to be here. Father Pratcher was sick and was not able to be here today. So I'm going to bring up Jack Dahl to give the invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious and eternal God, you who will that the works of men be rendered unto yourself, send down your blessings upon all who gather here tonight. Bless the food that we eat, the friends that we share, and this PFANJ. Make us worthy, O Lord, to share in your bountiful harvest this day and every day. In a special way, we ask that you welcome into your loving arms all the fallen and departed members of our PFANJ. We remember also firefighter Chris Slutman, Staff Sergeant, the United States Marine Corps, and the FDNY, who lost his life in defense of our nation a few days ago. May his soul and all the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight. I also want to thank the Jersey City Pipes and Drums and the Honor Guard for their performance tonight. They always come through for us, and we appreciate that. I want to thank the PFANJ Office Manager, Eleanor Keith, because putting this thing on is a tremendous effort. And without all the effort that she puts in for the last month and a half, you probably would be sitting in all different kind of tables and stuff. So I want to thank Eleanor Keith for all the work she's done. Yes, I was never going to get it right, that's for sure. I want to recognize a few individuals that are here tonight. I know he's expected to be here. I don't know if I've seen him yet, but Senator Ron Rice is expected to be here tonight, but I did not see him. But Assemblywoman Annette Cajano is here. I want to welcome Annette Cajano here tonight. IAFF 1st District Vice President Jim Slevin is here tonight, so I want to recognize Jim Slevin. We have a few chiefs with us here tonight, so I want to recognize them also. We have Chief Stephen McGill from the Jersey City Fire Department over here. We have Chief James Smith from the Ocean City Fire Department on my left. And we have Chief Pete Gazarowski from the Monroe Fire Department, I believe, on my left also. On my right. On my right. My other left. guys. I really need that. A few others I want to recognize tonight. We have the State Troopers President here with us tonight, Wayne Blanchard. And we have the FOP President here tonight, Bob Fox, with us, and two of his board members. I want to recognize Pete Guzzo, who's our PFANJ lobbyist and works tirelessly for us. And a group that has a job that takes a very unique and special individual. I want to welcome Dr. Robin Lee, Kathy Conlon, Ralph Burgos, Miriam Ramirez, and Tina Estevez from the Burn Center at St. Barnabas Medical Center, Aubrey J. Robinson. We know we have a tough job, but their job is a lot tougher than ours at times. I would also be remiss if I did not recognize and thank the PFANJ Valor Awards Committee. There was many applications that came in this past year, a lot of work that had to go into it, evaluating all those. They did a tremendous job in getting us here to tonight's ceremony. I also want to recognize the executive board members that are here tonight, so if you all could stand up, we'd like you all to take your due recognition. So will all executive board members and committee members please stand up, and thank you for all the work you've done throughout the year. Just so you know, there are others that are just shy of standing up. On behalf of the executive board and the entire membership of the Professional Firefighters Association of New Jersey, it is my honor to welcome each one of you to our annual Bravest of the Brave Valor Awards ceremony. As president of the PFANJ, there is not a prouder time for me than when we recount the individual and collective acts of courage, professionalism, and service above self that are the accounts we will share with those gathered here today. To our award recipients, your acts reflect great credit upon yourselves, your family, and the entire membership of the PFANJ, as well as the department where you serve. When you put yourself in harm's way, day in and day out, it gives those of us that work for you and your family a sincere uplifting, and makes us proud to announce to anyone that we represent the Professional Firefighters Association of New Jersey, affiliated with the 314,000 career professional firefighters, emergency medical services, and allied support service members nationwide and in Canada that make up the great International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO CLC. May God bless and keep safe all those gathered here today, as well as the entire membership and families of the PFANJ. I welcome you all to the 2019 PFANJ Valor Awards ceremony. Okay, we're going to move right into our award presentation. I'm going to call up Jack Dahl, who will be reading the narratives for each award. If the award recipients can meet me at the table to the left of to the right of the dais, walk up the steps, but go back the same way. There's no steps on this side. Just making sure there's no steps on this side.
How about a round of applause for the hardest working guy in New Jersey labor? It's done for us all the time. Better keep in mind. First award is Teen Non-Fire Meritorious. Perth Amboy Firefighters, IAFF Local 286. Perth Amboy Fire Officers, IAFF Local 4070. January 4th, 2018, 185 Fayette Street. Perth Amboy Fire Department responded to a report of an unknown odor. When Truck 2 arrived and entered the building, they immediately encountered an unconscious girl in the hallway. Without hesitation, firefighter David Ramos picked the young victim up from the floor, brought her outside, and initiated CPR. The balance of Truck 2 continued their search, making their way to the 3rd floor, where Perth Amboy police were making their way into apartment 11. Inside, 2 unconscious men were found. While the police performed CPR on one victim, Truck 2 Captain Robert Bunton and firefighter Paul Canamella picked the younger of the 2 up from the floor and carried him down the stairs and outside. Due to adverse weather conditions, emergency medical services could not access the block where the incident was unfolding. Captain Carlos Gonzalez was now arriving on the scene. He assisted the truck crew with carrying the victim up the street, where he was placed in a police car for immediate transport to the hospital. Both captains returned to the address and carried the 3rd victim in the same manner for transport. Great job. Captain Gary Byrne, Captain Nick Degnan, firefighter Kevin Barnes, firefighter Alberto Henriquez. Jersey City Firefighters IAFF Local 1066, Jersey City Fire Officers IAFF Local 4074. 1064. Sorry for the typo. January 31st, 2018, 21 Grant Avenue. A well-advanced basement fire at 21 Grant Avenue brought Jersey City firefighters to the scene on January 31st. Engine 8 prepared to advance their attack line, while Tower Ladder 4 forced entry to the front door. The 4 began their search immediately above the fire while advancing the hose line. A victim was quickly located by Engine 8 firefighter Alberto Henriquez. Captain Gary Byrne, Captain Nick Deaton, and firefighter Kevin Barnes assisted Henriquez to quickly remove the victim to the sidewalk. Once outside, it was determined the victim was not breathing. The rescuers initiated CPR, with firefighter Henriquez performing chest compressions, successfully reviving the victim before being transported to the hospital by EMS. It would ultimately require 4 alarms to bring this fire under control. Congratulations, brothers. EMS Meritorious, Ambulance 2293, Evesham Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 4687. February 21st, 2018, Route 70 East and North Locust Avenue. A single vehicle accident involving a utility pole left the driver trapped and in cardiac arrest at Route 70 East and North Locust Avenue in Evesham Township on February 21st. Responding as Evesham Ambulance 2293, firefighter Gregory Huber and firefighter Matthew Heston quickly assessed the situation. Without time to spare, they worked together to rapidly extricate the victim through the passenger side window. They immediately began CPR and applied a defibrillator. After delivering 2 shock pulses, returned, but during ongoing care, the patient again went pulseless. A third shock was delivered, restoring his pulse, and breathing also returned, although inadequate. Determined, firefighter Huber and Heston managed the victim's airway and delivered respirations to sustain life. Due to their resolve, the patient was transported from the scene to definitive medical care and made a full recovery, using his second chance to care for his own ailing wife. Congratulations. Team Non-Fire Meritorious, Squad Company 40, D Platoon, Robbinsville Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3786. A single vehicle left the roadway, leaving the driver trapped and critically injured in the early morning hours of March 11th. On-duty members of Robbinsville Squad Company 40, under the command of Captain Eric Idle, responded to find the vehicle resting on its side, 20 feet below the roadway on a rocky, sloped embankment, close to the Rocky Brook and close to the bridge abutment. Ground ladders were necessary to provide rescuers access to the scene and lower necessary equipment. Working in low light on difficult terrain, the vehicle was quickly stabilized by firefighter Nick D'Alonzo using struts and cribbing. Firefighter Steve Schnaut assessed the patient and began the process of extrication using hydraulic rescue tools. On the roadway above, firefighter Hammerly assembled a complex hauling system using rope and devices necessary to bring the patient up the embankment once he was freed from the confines of his vehicle. In the months after this incident occurred, Captain Eric Idle retired from the Robbinsville Fire Department, and Steve Schnaut was promoted to the rank of captain. Congratulations, brothers. Valor, fire. Captain Gabriel Angeni, firefighter Elmi Ramos, firefighter Jonathan Perno, firefighter Gregory Turner. Camden Fire Officers, IAFF Local 2578, Camden Firefighters, IAF Local 788. March 25th, 2018, 417 South 5th Street. In the early morning, Camden firefighters were sent out to 417 South 5th Street on reports of a fire. As firefighters were turning out for the alarm, additional reports of people trapped were transmitted. Ladder 2 arrived behind engine 1. They would have been the second truck, but exceptional chauffeuring by firefighter Elmi Ramos and Tillerman Gregory Turner, under the command of Captain Gabriel Angemi, brought them there sooner. Members set about search and rescue operations with credible reports of people trapped, abandoning normal procedures to make every effort to save a life. Engine 1 was engaged in the firefight when Truck 2 crawled past them. They received a victim located on the second floor. Working together, Captain Angemi and firefighter Jonathan Perno removed the unconscious victim in cardiac arrest to the sidewalk, where EMS began CPR. The victim was successfully revived and is recovering from his injuries. Congratulations. Valor Award, firefighter Daniel Pepe, firefighter Sean O'Connor, Jersey City Firefighters, IAFF Local 1066. March 30th, 2018, 307 Pacific Avenue. Investigating reports of a fire that first arriving Jersey City firefighters found nothing obvious. Soon, Squad 4 found smoke issuing from a door at the rear of the building. The alarm was upgraded to a working fire. Rescue 1 forced entry through the door identified by the Squad 4 captain and entered to complete their search without the protection of a hose line. In deteriorating conditions, following fundamental search techniques, firefighter Daniel Pepe and Sean O'Connor located a victim in the fire room on the floor next to a bed. In high heat, smoke, and no visibility, they successfully removed the victim from the fire, carrying him outside and delivering him to emergency medical services. Congratulations, brother. Let's hear it for you. Great stuff. Valor, fire. Captain Keith Scully, firefighter Kyle Asbrand, firefighter Justin Parker, Burlington County Firefighters IFF Local 3091. April 14th, 2018, 245 Washington Street, Fieldsboro, New Jersey. With staffing of just 3 firefighters, ladder 3225 responded from their Bordentown firehouse into neighboring Fieldsboro to a house fire. They arrived first and went to work alone. Firefighter Kyle Asbrand advanced the first hose line while firefighter Justin Parker operated the pump. Captain Keith Scully completed his size-up and worked to determine whether or not everyone from the house made it outside. The occupant reported she was unable to locate her son. She thought he had exited with her when the fire was discovered, but now he could not be found. She said he may be in the second floor bedroom at the front of the house. Upon learning the update, firefighter Parker left the pump to operate the hose line, while Asbrand brought a ground ladder to the front bedroom window. Captain Scully entered the home without the protection of a hose line to search. Asbrand ascended the ladder and entered the second floor through the window, meeting Captain Scully inside. Together, they located the missing child on the floor next to the bed. Working together, they successfully rescued the child from the home. Great job. With 3 men. Unbelievable. Valor, fire, firefighter Stephen Russell. Team Meritorious Award, Collingswood Fire Department, Squad 16. Camden County Firefighters, IAFF Local 3249. May 8th, 2018, 1104 Haddon Avenue, Collingswood, New Jersey. Collingswood Fire Department, Squad 16, arrived first and alone to a fire in a building with business on the first floor and apartments above. Police officers told the firefighters they had seen 2 women at the second-floor window, trapped by the fire. Captain Robert Fox split his crew so fire attack and search could happen simultaneously. Captain Fox and firefighter Stephen Russell brought a ground ladder to the window, identified by the police, while firefighters Kyle Jarozinski and Adam Stolhammer stretched their attack line and operated the pump. One woman was straddling a window with thick black smoke issuing above her head. As firefighter Russell climbed the ladder, he tried to calm her, but she leapt from the window, landing on Stephen. Somehow, he was able to stay on the ladder and hold the woman who had jumped. While holding the woman on the ladder, he was able to coax the second woman out of the window and onto the ladder. He guided them both to safety by climbing down the ladder. Throughout the successful rescue and initial fire attack, Collingswood Squad 16 remained the only fire unit on the scene. Prior to the arrival of additional apparatus and staffing, Squad 16 was able to complete a search of the remaining apartments. Great job, congratulations. Incredible guys doing incredible things. Valor, non-fire. Firefighter Ryan Clark. Valor, civilian non-fire. Police officer Doug Swillow. Team service non-fire. Truck 1B platoon, Captain Quigley. Firefighter Shalowitz. Ocean City firefighters, IFF Local 4032. In the early evening of June 1st, in Ocean City, the fire department was requested to 9th Street and the beach, where reports of 5 people were in distress in the ocean. Engine 1 arrived first and reported multiple people were in the water close to a dangerous jetty and inherent hazards, well known to responders. Ocean City police officer Doug Swillow and Engine 1 probationary firefighter Ryan Clark quickly entered the water without regard for their personal safety. They made their way to the victims and kept them afloat while awaiting support. At the same time, on 14th Street, Truck 1 was deploying the fire department's personal watercraft and heading to the incident to remove the victims from the water. All of the victims were safely moved away from the breaking waves, then brought to shore and removed from danger. Congratulations. Valor Award, Team, Engine 1, 3rd Platoon, Perth Amboy Firefighters, IAFF Local 286. June 7, 2018. 401 Hidden Village Drive. Just after 5 a.m. on June 7th, the Perth Amboy Fire Department responded to a report of a fire in an apartment. The first arriving firefighters found thick, dark smoke coming from a first-floor apartment in a building with 2 floors of apartments above. While the first hose line was being advanced, the incident commander located multiple occupants trapped above the fire on the second and third floor balconies. Firefighters from Engine 1, Eric Wilhelm, Ariel Bonilla, Kurt Gregory, and Ryan O'Shea used ground ladders to reach them. In order to reach and safely remove all victims, they needed to reposition the same ladders more than once. In all, 5 occupants were removed from the floors above the fire over ladders by members of Perth Amboy Engine 1, 3rd Platoon. Congratulations. He said she did all the work. Valor Award Team, Engine 2, 4th Platoon, Truck 2, 4th Platoon, Perth Amboy Firefighters, IAFF Local 286, Perth Amboy Firefighters, IAFF Local 4070. You have excellent response time. While 4th Platoon firefighters worked to contain a blaze at 304 Elm Street, Truck 2, under the command of Captain Eric Kaiser, was assigned to search the upper floors for victims. Results on the second floor were favorable, finding no victims. In order to access the third floor, firefighters had to exit onto a roof and use an exterior staircase. On the third floor, firefighters searched the smoke-filled apartment. Firefighter Kurt Gregory located a 22-year-old resident in the apartment. Firefighter Daniel Arroyo was tasked with removing the victim via the exterior stairs. At the second floor, they could not re-enter the apartment to use the interior stairway. Engine 2 firefighters Jay Fedor and Michael Orocho raised a ground ladder to a lower roof and safely evacuated the occupant to ground level. Congratulations. Meritorious non-fire, firefighter EMT Kyle Duran, firefighter EMT Michael Advena. Meritorious non-fire civilian, lifeguard Matt Soper, lifeguard Ryan Wasserek. Team service non-fire, Engine 1 C Platoon. This is the Brigantine Firefighters IAFF Local 2657. July 29th, 2018, Front Beach at 5th Street North. With the report of an unconscious and unresponsive juvenile as a result of a drowning, Brigantine Fire Department Basic Life Support Ambulance 3 and Engine 1, under the command of Incident Commander 1, responded. When they arrived, they found Brigantine City Beach Patrol lifeguard Matt Soper and Ryan Wasserek attending to a young victim they had rescued from the ocean and began CPR efforts on the beach. Brigantine firefighter EMTs Kyle Duran and Michael Advena assumed CPR and prepared to transport the patient as soon as possible with the assistance from Engine 1. As a result of their efforts, the child's pulse returned with shallow respirations. Continued rescue efforts throughout transport, maintaining the child's airway and providing respirations, facilitated a full recovery. As a side note, Engine 1 was still on scene and returning to service after this physically and emotionally challenging beach incident when they were dispatched and responded directly to a structure which they brought under control in under 10 minutes. Amazing. Valor, non-fire. Lieutenant McDonald, EMS Meritorious, EMT Michael Fry, EMT Gary Howard, EMT Matthew Kiefer, EMS Meritorious Civilian, Paramedic DeFlorette Clark, Paramedic Zakia Days, EMS Team Service, Engine 1, Truck 1, D Platoon, North Plainfield Firefighters, IAFF Local 2958, North Plainfield Fire Officers, IAFF Local 2983, JFK Hackensack Meridian Health Advanced Life Support. August 18th, 789 Route 22 West. North Plainfield firefighters and emergency medical technicians were dispatched to a report of 2 unconscious people at an address known to be a store. When Engine 1 and Car 3 arrived, they observed JFK paramedics Zakia Days and DeFlorette Clark dragging an unconscious woman through a door serving the corner store in a row of stores with a dance studio above. Firefighters Jeffrey Meyer and Patrick Lanzone immediately assisted the paramedics and supported their life-saving care of the first victim on the sidewalk. Lieutenant McDonald looked in through the door and could see there was another person lying on the ground 30 feet away at the rear of the store. Without regard for his safety, without the benefit of breathing apparatus or complete personal protective equipment, he entered the store and located the victim and a bystander, who entered before the fire department arrived and whose condition was rapidly deteriorating. Lieutenant McDonald evacuated the bystander and dragged the unresponsive victim to the door, where he was met by EMT Michael Fry. Together they brought the victim across the threshold and onto the sidewalk. EMTs Gary Howard, Matthew Kiefer, and Fry continued medical care with paramedics throughout transport. Lieutenant McDonald sounded the building fire alarm system to evacuate the other stores. He remained the incident commander throughout the investigation and mitigation of what was a significant hazardous materials release and spill incident requiring the response from North Plainfield Truck 1, the Somerset County Hazardous Materials Response Team, and Mutual Aid Fire Departments. Outstanding. Congratulations. Team Meritorious, non-fire. Squad 7, 3rd Platoon, Camden Fire Officers, IAFF, Local 2578. Camden Firefighters, IAFF, Local 788. September 29th, Lansdowne Avenue and Atlantic Avenue. Late morning on September 29th, Squad 7 was returning to their quarters when they were waved down by a pedestrian reporting a gunshot victim in an intersection ahead of their apparatus. Proceeding to the scene, the members of Squad 7 observed bystanders actively removing a person from a car there and beginning CPR. The firefighters quickly determined the victim was not suffering from a gunshot. Rather, it appeared to be an overdose. Firefighter Orlando Nunez assumed chest compressions, while firefighter Joel Thompson and Lacey Phelps retrieved their EMS bag from the rig. After a few minutes of CPR, Captain Gabriel Angemi still did not detect a pulse, and supervised his crew's continued CPR efforts until advanced and basic life support arrived. Before transferring care, the victim's pulse had returned. Naloxone. Narcan? Narcan. Narcan was administered and medical personnel continued to manage the victim's airway. Ultimately, the victim regained consciousness and was able to provide his name to responders. Congratulations. Couldn't just put Narcan in there? Valor Award, Captain Fernando de Lima, Lieutenant Carmine Martignetti. That's what I'm up with. Irvington Fire Officers, IAFF Local 2004. It's not vacation. Okay, November 30th, 69 Berkeley Terrace. The Irvington Fire Department responded to a house fire in the early evening of November 30th, arriving to find a well-involved basement fire issuing smoke and heat throughout the upper floors. During the process of searching for occupants above the fire, 2 members of the first arriving ladder company became lost in hoarding conditions, high heat, and smoke. A mayday was called. Captain Fernando de Lima and Lieutenant Carmine Martignetti were close to the lost firefighters' last known location. They initiated a search for the lost and distressed firefighters in the same high heat, thick smoke, and hoarding conditions of the first floor, directly above the fire. Their search was successful. They located the 2 firefighters and brought them to safety outside, where they were treated by EMS and transported to the hospital. Excellent work, brother. Valor Award, Firefighter Robert Meyer, Firefighter Stan Sikora, Monroe Firefighters, IAFF Local 3170. December 30th, 326 Nantucket Lane. A reported kitchen fire brought Monroe firefighters to 326 Nantucket Lane on the morning of December 30th. Responders were informed the occupants were inside. They could be heard on an open phone line by dispatchers. Ladder 8 arrived first with Lieutenant Wayne Lyons and firefighter Robert Meyer and Stan Sikora. With Lieutenant Lyons in command, the firefighters were tasked with search and rescue. Without the protection of a hose line, Ladder 8 firefighters made entry to the home. Smoke was banked to the floor. Conducting their search, a victim was located in the kitchen. Firefighter Meyer passed the fire to reach the victim and again to remove her from the home, delivering her to emergency medical services. Simultaneously, the second victim was located in the living room by firefighter Sikora. He was also removed and delivered to EMS. Both rescues were performed before a hose line could be placed in service to protect the firefighters during the search and attack of the fire. Congratulations.
We have three more awards to give out. I know they're bringing out the salad and the bread, but we have three more awards to give out, and we should be able to wrap it up and enjoy the rest of the evening. At this time, we're bringing up the PFANJ Humanitarian Award, and I would like to call up Stephen Costantino, Wyatt Clevenger, and Christopher Willett. Operation First Response, Ocean City Firefighters, IAFF Local 4032. Operation First Response is a non-profit dedicated to serving our wounded military and their families, made up of volunteers who believe it is their duty and our responsibility to give back to those who have sacrificed so much to keep us free. A direct service charity, Operation First Response gives back over 95% of the monies raised directly to those military families who need our assistance. Since 2004, Operation First Response has given over $10 million and served nearly 20,000 wounded heroes and their families. The Operation First Response Family Assistance Program was developed with the main purpose of alleviating the financial difficulties facing the wounded hero's family. Some of the services provided included personal and financial services from the onset of the injury or illness, throughout the recovery period, and along the journey from military life to the civilian world. Also provided are airline flights, lodging, and car transportation to and from airport and hospital for veterans and their families requiring treatment for injuries seen, like burns, disfigurement, and dismemberment, and unseen like PTSD and traumatic brain injuries. They also provide financial support for the basics like groceries, clothing, mortgage, rent, utilities, and vehicle payments. So our wounded veterans can concentrate on their recovery with a brighter hope for the future, without the worry of having the electricity or gas shut off. Fundraising for a charity at this local level requires a commitment of time and energy. Those who take on the challenge must tackle many obstacles along the way. Without the buy-in and support of a larger group, they wouldn't reach their goal, the goal of their organization, or fulfill the mission of their cause. Ocean City firefighters have been supporting Operation First Response for more than 10 years, raising more than $100,000 to help achieve the mission, hosting Operation First Response widely recognized Walk for the Wounded on Ocean City's iconic boardwalk. Ocean City Firefighters, IAFF Local 4032's endeavor to support Operation First Response is led by United States Marine Sergeant and Ocean City firefighter EMT Wyatt Clevenger, Navy Air Crewman, Rescue Swimmer, and Ocean City Fire Captain Chris Valor, and Ocean City Deputy Chief Steve Costantino. When we support our wounded veterans, we epitomize our mantra, support those who support us. On behalf of the PFANJ, it is my esteemed honor to present to Wyatt Clevenger, Chris Valor, I knew I was going to screw that up, and Steve Costantino with the PFANJ Humanitarian Award. Congratulations. Next award that we would like to give out is our State Legislative Leadership Award. And this year we are honoring the Honorable Annette Kahano, Assemblywoman, New Jersey Assembly, District 20. You know, we are a union and we are a labor union and we have many things to do throughout the year. And your state association, most of the work is done at the State House in Trenton. And without legislators that are friends of the firefighters, that work can become daunting. Tonight we are honoring Assemblywoman Annette Kahano with the PFANJ State Legislative Leadership Award. Assemblywoman Kahano was elected to the Assembly in 2008. And throughout her tenure in the Assembly, she has proven time and time again that she understood our concerns and needs. Whenever firefighter issues were brought before her, she would ensure that she had a full understanding of the issue and would champion our issues. Assemblywoman Kahano utilized her office to move our issues forward and has lobbied other members of the Assembly on our behalf. Assemblywoman Kahano has always had an open door with the PFANJ, giving us the ability to discuss our issues, and after being briefed, she would offer her honest opinion, and if it was something she felt strongly about, she would be an advocate. Assemblywoman Kahano is a valuable asset that the firefighters and emergency medical personnel need in the state legislature. We are thankful for the time she has spent in the Assembly and for what she has done for the firefighters and emergency medical personnel of New Jersey, and wish her continued success in the state legislature. Currently, in this legislative session, there are 27 legislative bills that Annette has sponsored that affect our members and their families. None more important than the Thomas P. Canzanella 21st Century First Responders Act, our Cancer Presumption Act. A quick note, we pride ourselves on supporting those who support us, whether Democrat or Republican. Annette supports us, and we will continue to support her. On behalf of the PFANJ, it is my honor to present the PFANJ State Legislative Leadership Award to Assemblywoman Annette Kahano. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Some people have asked me, why do I have an interest in firefighters in New Jersey? And I can tell you it started when I was younger. I had a cousin that had volunteered. And I heard all the stories. And I was like, wow, you're like Superman, right? And I know now that the stories that I heard were cleaned up, okay? None of the really hard stuff, just all the good stuff. And, you know, when you grow up with that, you always remember that. When I went to the state legislature, I was selected to fill a vacancy. And what I learned was you have to talk to people at the table. And when I was invited by our local firefighter, Tiny, which all my staff is, I'm in the room, I don't see anybody tiny in that room, so who could be this tiny? But he is a firefighter in the city of Elizabeth, and he took the time to school me. He brought me to the tables to sit with other firefighters and to tell me what was important, and I got it. When I was selected to chair the Assembly Homeland Security and State Preparedness, I had to reach out more often to understand more of the issues that impacted not only the firefighters, state police, and first responders. It was at one of those Are You Ready programs that I had started so that everyone would know how to prepare for an emergency that fire official Lissy brought in his pieces of his uniform. And he was showing the children all the pieces. And of course, you know, I think I'm young apart. I wanted to get dressed too, right? So he put the turnout coat on. He put the hood, the helmet. I was in an air-conditioned room. No boots, no pants. Right over my clothes. Once he put the ventilator on, I fell over. And the thing is, your average person doesn't even have a clue what firefighters go through. All that weight on you, even before you start your job. It's amazing. So of course, now I want, and we're going to, with Dominic's help, I want to make sure the state legislators get dressed. Get dressed in what you have to wear every day to work. And I don't want them to walk a mile in your shoes, but I want them to walk a few hundred yards. Because I really think that they need to understand the sacrifice, dedication, and sacrifice that you do every day. I will continue. You want them to get dressed too, right? I will continue to represent firefighters as best I can in the state legislature, but I can tell you this. Dominic I have known over the years, and it wasn't until the Thomas Canzanella bill that I saw that fire come out. When he explained why it was so important and why New Jersey can't get their act together when over 40 other states are doing it. So we are working together, and I can't wait to be back next year and say that we were successful. Right, Dominic?
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. I'm humbled by this honor. I appreciate it. And stay safe. Thank you very much.
Annette, I just want you to know there is a program that the IFF runs that we bring legislators that can go through some of the evolutions we do. So we will definitely be talking shortly to get those legislators dressed and doing our job. All right, we have two more. At this time, I'd like to bring up the Monroe Firefighters IAFF Local 3170 to receive the Thomas P. Canzanella Local Affiliate of the Year Award. Representing the career firefighters in Monroe, New Jersey is IAFF PFANJ Local 3170. Covering 42 square miles in southern Middlesex County, Monroe firefighters are responsible for nearly 50,000 residents, portions of the New Jersey Turnpike and State Highway 33, including rural, commercial, industrial, and residential areas. Local 3170 members work in 3 fire districts within Monroe Township, creating the challenge for local leadership to interact with 3 different employers. Consistently, IAFF Local 3170 has had to punch above their weight class to serve its membership, most notably their effort to bring wrongly terminated firefighters back to work and with back pay. Monroe firefighters have had to push back against initiatives by their employer to replace IAFF members with at-will employees. They fought and they won, establishing case law used by other IAFF locals throughout New Jersey to fend off similar advances. Never satisfied, local leadership is engaged with their employer to advance not only their membership, but their department to provide the very best fire department emergency services available. They have advocated, negotiated, and achieved an increase in daily staffing with the addition of 4 full-time IAFF firefighters in District 2, among many other initiatives pursued in the interest of fire safety for the firefighters and residents alike. Members of IAFF Local 3170 are ever present at PFANJ meetings, events, and demonstrations. They participate in local charity events, support other locals' charitable endeavors, and never shy away from stepping up to help a fellow firefighter in any way possible. They present a show of strength and solidarity which could be emulated by locals large and small throughout the PFANJ and IAFF. Tonight, the PFANJ is proud to honor the members of Monroe Firefighters IAFF Local 3170 with the Thomas P. Cantanella Local Affiliate Award. Congratulations. I have one more that I would like to read. It's our Unionism Award. The recipient is not here. He is at FDIC. He regrets that he was not able to be here. But if you know the individual, you know he would be here without even hesitating. The Senator Christopher J. Jackman Unionism Award is going to Jeffrey Moran, Woodbridge Firefighters, IAFF Local 290, and their state delegate. Jeff is a wonderful husband to his wife Karen, who is a retired Woodbridge police officer, and father to his son Corey, who is an FDNY firefighter, and daughter Megan. We all know how difficult it is to be a union leader and still ensure that our families are taken care of, and Jeff has been able to balance that time well. Jeff was a proud member of the Woodbridge Fire Department, serving for over 25 years and retiring as a fire captain. Jeff is a safety professional and full-time fire chief in heavy industry at Chevron and U.S. Metals, fire protection and occupational safety consultant, business owner, and instructor at Middlesex Fire Academy for 8 years. Jeff is involved with the International Fire Department Instructors Conference, Firehouse Expo, Nationwide for Fire Training Conference, published author on fire service management and leadership, certified instructor in fire drill grounds, hazardous materials, rescue, CPR, AED, fireground safety, and survival. Brother Moran's educational background including a Master's of Administration Science, FDU Public Administrative Institute, BS Business Administration, Public Science, Political Science, Morningside College, AAS Fire Science Technology, Middlesex County College. Brother Moran has been involved as a union member serving on his local's executive board and a state executive board for many years. Although retired from the fire service, Jeff continues to serve Local 290 as a representative of the PFANJ as the state delegate. Jeff has served on numerous committees in his capacity as a representative of Woodbridge Local and the State Association that has helped firefighters throughout the state. Jeff continues to serve on the PFANJ Valor Award Committee and on the newly formed PFANJ Peer Support Committee. Jeff has stepped up on numerous occasions when we marched and rallied on Trenton, and we've met with state legislators on firefighter and EMS issues. Jeff is very passionate, and he represents his fellow union members with enthusiasm. Jeff is not only involved in the aspects of his union, the PFANJ and the IFF, but is also very much involved in various charitable and community programs such as the PFANJ 5-Alarm 5K, the St. Barnabas Burn Foundation. Jeff was also recognized by the New Jersey AFL-CIO Middlesex Somerset County Central Labor Council for his strong union work. Jeff is an asset to the members of his local, the PFANJ, the IFF, and the union movement as a whole. As president, it is truly my honor to present this year's Senator Chris Jackman Unionism Award to someone who I have a high respect for. Congratulations, Jeffrey Moran. That concludes the awards part of this program. The remainder of the evening, we all should be enjoying the festivities, the food, the good company, the brotherhood, the sisterhood. I thank you for your patience. I thank you for all your support throughout the year. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.